Hello and howdy hey, it's young Errol. I'm back for another little talky vlog. Um, I woke up today wondering, what am I going to talk about? Because the last few vlogs were pretty clear to me, because I had recent experiences that were really interesting and worth talking about, but this past week has just kind of been, eh, like, I washed dishes, my niece had her last week at school. It just not very interesting stuff. Ugh, excuse me. So I figured, why not talk about, like books and movies and crap. So I thought of an argument, or not an argument, but a strong opinion I have that will take like hopefully at least 15 minutes to talk about. Now this isn't the sucker punch dilemma, I guess, which that we'll save for another time because that right there is it. That's a talk. But I guess right now I'll just talk about Pitch Perfect, which is a movie. um, it's technically not a musical. I briefly saw a GIF set on Tumblr that had Anna Kendrick discussing about it that it wasn't a musical because the music doesn't forward the plot, which makes sense to me. I've seen a fair amount of musicals. Um, but that's not my beef with it. If you haven't seen Pitch Perfect, spoilers, I guess. Uh, but for a brief, very, very brief, overgeneralized plot summary, a girl named Becca wants to be a DJ. She goes to college on a free ride from her father. Um, and she joins an a cappella group because they don't have a DJ group. And learns to care about the group, but in a really kind of selfish way, in my opinion. Um, I will expand on that later. But yeah, she gets a boyfriend and there's shenanigans and blah blah blah. I do kind of like the movie, but it's not one I'm wild about. It's cute. Like, it's something that I watched a few years ago. I don't know that I'm gonna watch it again just because, meh. Um, because I have three major disappointments with it that this vlog is to discuss. And I will go from the least disappointing to the one that bugs me still. Um, the least disappointing thing is that Chloe and Becca didn't get together. Like, I'm sorry, oh, what's his face? Her actual love interest in the movie. Like, he's cute and all. I can't remember his name. And he's a fun time. Like, I do not fault their relationship. They had pretty decent chemistry together, but she honestly had more chemistry with Chloe. Like, Chloe was adorable, and they should have been together. Loki knows. He's right here. He's on my desk. Actually, he doesn't give a shit one way or another. He's a cat. Anyway. But like I said, that is my smallest grievance just because, you know, um, Becca and whatever his name is. I cannot remember his name, and that is not like me. Um, I don't have a photo memory, but I do have a fairly decent one for. I do have. I keep wanting to say Joey, but I know that's not right. Either way. So yeah, like I said, that's the least of grievances. That's one I don't care about too much either way because like I said, she had good chemistry with the main interest. Um, yeah, no, the one that actually annoys me, um, oh, well, a little bit anyway, it's the announcers or like commentators. Like, I've been to a few chorus concerts in my life because my sister was in chorus. Well, one of my sisters was in chorus. So we've been to a few of her concerts, and they didn't even want you applauding during, after a solo or something during the musical numbers, but especially when they were trying to record because that would screw up the recording. So, like, I can't imagine that at a music based event, they would have active commentary like it's a sports event. It doesn't make sense. It didn't forward the plot, and it was honestly like, just kind of okay humor at best. It, like I said, it didn't help anything, and honestly, I didn't think their opinions were on. Like, talking about the Bellas being boring and everything, it's like, I don't think so. Like, I'm sorry, I just, obviously they kept, progressing through the, um, competitions because their, the act that they chose to perform was solid. Like, it was well performed, it was rehearsed well, and I don't care what the audience in Pitch Perfect thought. It was a good musical number. Like, I don't think it was boring. Uh, Even as a teenager, I would have been interested in it because they had active choreography the entire time. Like, to me, I would have been riveted as a kid because I would have been like, wow, they're dancing and singing. That's so cool. I think nowadays that's like a minimum requirement, and that's dumb, but yeah, no, I would have been way more impressed as a child. Well, teenager. I don't know what I would have thought as a child. Hard to say. I was a weird kid. Grew into a weird adult. Anyway, why do I feel like I'm so smart today? Anyway, so, I did not like the commentators. Like, the actors are all well and good, but like I said, it didn't add anything, and if anything, it was distracting and unnecessary. Like I said, it's like they could have just been judges, and they could have just been talking after the performance, just a quick sideline, or even just like whispering to each other during the performance, not publicly broadcasting to who? People who are tuning in. And you imagine if people are tuning in, they're not going to want to hear people talking over it the entire time. That's the point of music, is to listen to it. And I understand at concerts, people are cheering really loud and you might not necessarily be able to hear it, but that's something different entirely. That's where you're supposed to be noisy like that. At a formal a cappella competition, I can't imagine that you would be encouraged to talk through the entire performance. If anything, that's how you would signify that the crowd was bored or uninterested in the girls' a cappella performance, is that they would talk to each other during the entire time. Anyway, I feel like the need to reiterate that this is all my own personal opinion about a movie. So, this isn't exactly fact or social law or whatever. Anyway, the one thing that I still have major beef about, because this isn't something I thought about for even a few years after I watched the movie. Like, I watched it a few times, otherwise I wouldn't remember nearly as much details as I do. Um, except for evidently the main interest's name, which keeps eluding me, and that's gonna bug me. It was Jesse. It was Jesse. Yeah, Becca and Jesse. For some reason, it was important that I remembered that, because if I didn't, then that would have bothered me, because that means my memory isn't as good as I like to think it is. Anyway, so the main thing that bothers me about Pitch Perfect is the Bella's ending song. Now, it's a good song. I enjoyed it, and it was, again, well performed. What bothers me is the music selection that Becca ended up doing. I don't know a lot of the original artists that she used to make the little collaboration. I assume they are most, if not entirely, male. And here's my thing. I don't think Becca did the Bellas a credit by going for mostly male music. Like, I understand she was using it to reunite with Jesse and shit, but, like, you could have just shown her owning up to that off stage. Like, you didn't need to have her do a grand gesture. Like, grand gestures are cute and all, but, like, you need actual communication. That's just a writing thing, though. Like, that's gonna keep happening in movies, whether I like it or not. Who cares? That part's not as important. That's not really my grievance. Like, there's any number of songs that they could have excuse me. There's any number of songs that they could have picked to make that their, reunion number. Anyway, like I said, my main beef is that she chose pretty much entirely male populated music when the whole uh the Bellas thing, that's something that they like based their group on, was that they performed music made popular by women. It's supposed to be a very, I'll say, feminist lightly group. Like feminine light, Lit. But they're very feminine, very focused on being, being like, hey, we're women in this field. We're going to be ourselves. So the fact of the matter is that they went, I guess, in a way, they went and played the game like everybody else instead of excelling while still holding true to the group's traditions, which, to me, if Bella had created a total banger out of just women's music, it would have been a greater triumph in my eyes, because then it's like she's taking the Bella's goal of being basically all woman. She's taking that goal and harmonizing it with her own personal grievances against the group, which her grievances was that she didn't like the set they were performing. She thought it was boring, which, maybe Becca doesn't have great taste. I don't know. But, she didn't like the set they were performing because she thought it was dull, and she said that, the Bellas were too old-fashioned. And, like, sure, whatever, maybe they are too old-fashioned. But the problem is that there are too many successful modern woman musicians for her to make that argument. Like, I'm sorry, she didn't even try. She didn't even try. I understand they were in a rush and everything, but can you imagine a mashup with, like, the Spice Girls, Britney, like Britney Spears, Beyonce, Rihanna, Cher, um, oh my God, Madonna, Whitney Houston. Oh my God, who else? I know who I'm thinking of. I just can't get her name. Christina Aguilera. Oh God, there's so many female artists, and I know I'm kind of blanking because like there's so many more than what I you know than what I said. But like even if you just took samples from like what did I name six different musical artists that are women? So that's like you take a song from each, that's six songs, you mash them together, you can get a song just from picking six. And there's so many more, strong female artists out there who have created amazing, absolute bangers. And it's just, and I'm also not referencing some of the more modern songs, like more popular ones nowadays, like Billie Eilish. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not particularly in tune with modern media and what's popular and what's all hip and cool and down with those kids. I never really was. I'm not really somebody who's ever been particularly invested in the media scene or celebrity gossip and all that. But I'm just trying to pick people who are popular around that time period that Pitch Perfect came out. Like Billie Eilish is too new to have been in Pitch Perfect one in the first one. But I'm sorry, but if you skip over the Spice Girls, like come on. Like go to any event and start playing Wannabe by the Spice Girls. People are gonna freak out. It's like Bohemian Rhapsody levels of people just freaking out and having fun to it. I'm sorry. Anyway, but that is my biggest grievance with Becca, the writers, and Pitch Perfect in general is that they just totally dropped the ball on that. Because, like I said, you're discrediting female artists. You just are. You just are. I don't have a more intelligent way to say it. It's just, you're skipping over a lot of really good woman made music or even just woman made popular music in favor of these, just cheap hits by dudes. And it's just heartbreaking because, like, that that would have been so much a sweeter victory, to beat the other a cappella groups with a good put together number that also was true to the original Bella's kind of doctrine, I guess, that they only performed numbers made famous by women. And it's so bitter. It's just something I'm bitter about, like, because it's like it's such a missed opportunity. I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? Normally, this is where I stop and be like, well, I'm not an expert, blah, 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 blah. I already said that this is all opinion based, and I'm not going to undermine my whole argument right now because I don't know. I think we could have used that. I just think that would have been a stronger ending to Pitch Perfect because you know part of the point of the movie was that the Bellas were learning to do new tricks by as per Becca's instruction. But I feel like Becca didn't learn anything because she didn't accept the Bella's mission. And hi, baby. Um, she didn't accept the Bella's mission, and your little head was on camera. Did you know that? But yeah, no, there wasn't any harmony before between the group at the end. They just did it Becca's way, and everybody's just like, "Oh, this is so much better." No, no, I just and that's pretty much why I haven't watched Pitch Perfect again. Because I'm just gonna get to the ending and I'm just gonna be disappointed because they didn't do it in the beautiful, arguably better way that I imagined. Oh well. Hopefully, I'm not the only person who's had that thought before because, like, I, I was kind of afraid to bring it up to my mom and my sister one of my sisters once, because, they like the movie and they tend to kind of lean towards the male um way of seeing things. But they agreed with me and they said Becca was a brat. So I feel validated in my argument. In my personal life, anyway. We'll see how it does online. Because that's the beauty of modern internet is you can just say anything and share it to millions, if not 5 people. So, um, to my sole subscriber, I hope you watched and hung on through that. And I appreciate you. Anybody else watching? You know, um, I guess leave a comment if you have any thoughts, feelings, arguments. Uh, do you want to yell at me for having open wounds on my forehead? I don't know. I don't know. I do kind of crave the interaction with the crowd, but you know, it'll come when it'll come. I understand people are shy about leaving comments, and I don't blame you because, people can talk back. That's scary. um, anyway, yeah, I'm going to go get breakfast. I haven't eaten yet. Breakfast at, 1:30 in the afternoon. We don't need to talk about that. All right, I hope y'all have a lovely day. Bye!